We all talk about the future constantly, every single day. We're planning our weekends, we're guessing who's going to win the game. It seems pretty simple, right? But the way we actually do it in English is, well, it's way more interesting and maybe a little weirder than you'd expect. So let's get into it.
Okay, let's just kick things off with a bit of a bombshell. You ready for this? English doesn't actually have a future tense. I know, that sounds totally nuts. We talk about the future all the time. Of course we do. But just stick with me here, because understanding this one little myth is the absolute key to unlocking how English really works.
So what on earth do I mean by that? Well, a lot of languages have a special verb ending, a specific way to change a verb just for the future. English? Nope, we don't have that. Instead, what we have is this fantastic, really flexible toolkit. It's full of different words and structures we use to talk about what's coming up. So it's not about one single tense, it's about picking the right tool for the job. And here they are, the main tools in our future talking kit. You'll definitely know the big players, will and be going to. But we also have a couple of what I like to call secret agents hiding in plain sight, the present continuous and the present simple. We're going to break all of these down, starting with the two you see most often.
The classic showdown, will versus be going to. This is where a lot of people get tangled up. But honestly, the difference is super intuitive. It's not about memorizing complicated grammar rules. It's really all about what's going on inside the speaker's head at the exact moment they're talking.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly. It all comes down to when the decision was made. We use will for stuff we decide right now, in the moment. A sudden decision, a quick offer to help someone out. But we use be going to when we're talking about a plan or an intention that was already there, something we decided before we even started speaking. See? It's all about the timing, now or earlier. Here's a perfect everyday example. Imagine you're at home, the phone starts ringing. You didn't have a pre-existing plan to answer it, right? The decision happens instantly, as a reaction. It's spontaneous. And that's why you naturally say, I'll get it. Simple as that. Okay, now compare that to this. The decision to call Grandma wasn't just made. It happened yesterday when that promise was made. It's a prior plan. It's an existing intention. So the right tool from our toolkit is be going to. I'm going to call her. Makes sense, right? It's all about that pre-existing plan. All right, so the whole will and be going to thing gets even more interesting when we're not talking about plans, but about predictions, guessing what's going to happen. It still comes down to what's in your head, but this time the question is your prediction just a feeling, or is it based on evidence you can actually see? This chart is awesome because it really breaks it down. So if your prediction is just your personal opinion, a gut feeling, or belief, I think our team will win, just because you're a fan, you use will. But if you're looking at hard evidence, something you can see with your own two eyes right now, like the scoreboard says it's 5-0 with 1 minute left, then you use be going to. You can see the result coming. Look at that score. They're going to win. Okay, so we've covered the heavy hitters, but now for the really cool part, the twist in the story. Remember those other tools I mentioned? Well, it turns out that two of our most common ways to talk about the future are actually present tenses.
I know, right? They've been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
It's a bit of a head scratcher, isn't it? But it's true. We constantly use the present to talk about things that haven't even happened yet. And it's not a mistake. It's actually a really sophisticated part of our language. This is how we add these extra layers of meaning to show just how certain or how official a future event really is.
So first up is the present continuous. The easiest way to think about this one is as your diary tense. We use this for future plans that are locked in, they're confirmed, and they usually involve other people. You know, if you've scheduled it, you've put it in your calendar, and someone is expecting you, this is the one you use. I'm meeting Jane for coffee tomorrow feels more solid than I'm going to meet Jane, because it's a confirmed arrangement.
And then there's the present simple. Now this is for future stuff that's totally out of your control because it's part of an official public schedule. Think trains, planes, movie times, store hours. You'd say my flight leaves at 6 a.m. tomorrow, not my flight is going to leave. Why? Well, because that flight is leaving with or without you. The schedule is a fixed fact.
So we've looked at spontaneous decisions and prior plans and predictions based on evidence and these fixed schedules. It might seem like a lot of different rules, but here's the good news. It all boils down to one simple, really powerful idea that changes how you look at all of this.
And here it is. This is the big takeaway. Stop worrying about which tense is grammatically correct, and instead just ask yourself, what meaning am I trying to get across? Is this a sudden idea? Is it a plan I've had for a while? Is it just my opinion? Or is it a scheduled fact? The specific meaning you want to convey is what tells you which tool to grab from the toolkit. Let's make this super practical. Think of this as your quick start guide to the future. When you need to talk about something that hasn't happened yet, just run through this little checklist in your head. Is it a spontaneous, in-the-moment decision? Go with will. Is it a plan you made before this moment? Use be going to. Is it a fixed arrangement in your calendar? Use the present continuous. And finally, is it part of a public schedule or timetable? Use the present simple. See, it really is that straightforward when you think about the meaning. So there you have it. English doesn't just have one clunky future tense, it has this rich, precise, and amazing toolkit that lets us express exactly what we mean about the future with all sorts of subtle details. Now that you're in on the secret, the only question left is, how will you talk about tomorrow?